Welcome back to another part of this F1 25 My Team Career Mode. This is part number 38 today for the Canadian Grand Prix in Season 3. Last time out, it went all the way to the last couple of laps. It was a fight between our two drivers, Bearman versus Tramnitz. We were taking the wheel as Ollie Bearman, and unfortunately, Tramnitz just got the better of us with a squeeze and with us with a bit of a tank slapper, and ultimately the better tyre choice being made by the German in the race, whereas in quali beforehand we made the really good choice to go on Inters when no one else would. So, you know, those sort of decisions are very, very crucial over the entire race weekend, and there's nothing between it. I think a few of you likening this battle between Tramnitz and Bearman almost like the real life battle we're seeing right now in Papaya with Norris versus Piastri. I mean, it's been a fantastic first part of the season. Ignore the DNF there for Bearman. It actually is 5 wins in a row for this team, which is pretty unheard of in any sort of career mode, and my team career mode especially as well. That's how on a level we've been and how locked in we've been to the task of just getting as many points as we can, because there will come the point, and it's already starting, that the AI teams around us start to get those last upgrades, phase 4 eventually, and we know it's a fact that they max out at a higher performance index. So there will be a point once they get those upgrades that they will just be better on paper. There might be chances, of course, to get one over them, certain tracks where we can make the difference, and, you know, also just the chaos of a career mode race where things can happen out of the control of those AI drivers. Then there's chances, but I'm not leaving it to chance. I want to try and maximize everything, and that includes, as always, spending just, it seems like, endless money in this career series, buying every single facility upgrade we can, because I mean, where else are we going to use the over $40 million? But I alluded to, you know, that catching up of the AI teams. It's already started. It started last episode with Mercedes getting ahead of us for the first time in this comparison chart, and now Red Bull have joined them, and that's a bit more of a threat because they've got Verstappen and Piastri, especially Verstappen. Obviously, we know how fast he is, not just in real life, but in the game, on this game. You know, in some of your guys' saves, he's been unreal, so fast. So that is going to be a problem. I think I'm more scared about Red Bull now getting ahead of us on paper than I am of Merc, and obviously Ferrari we've had covered. Their drivers just haven't been right up to the scratch that you need to be at the sharp end. So this could be very much now the beginning of that next phase of the season where we've got a bit more of a fight for not only the win, but podiums and just staying in the top 5, really, as we make a couple of subtle changes to the livery, a couple of sponsors that we've now got some new variants on the side pod, the front of the car as well, the rear wing actually as well. Quite quickly we've gained new variants of a brand new sponsor we only just put on the car like 2 episodes ago, I think, but Zebra being our main kind of secondary sponsor, we've now got a brand new variant of that logo, which I'm happy about. And so a little bit of a difference going into Montreal for the Canadian Grand Prix as we swap over from driving as Bearman to Tim Tramnitz.
It is time to go qualifying in Canada. A historic track. Looks simple, it's anything but. Welcome to Montreal.
Now, obviously, very happy hunting grounds around this circuit, not only on this game, but in general, on all F1 games, but in particular this save, obviously, last season, getting our first win for the team ever with Jenson Button in changeable conditions, and we come back for Season 3 without Jenson Button. He's here in spirit, his helmet design on the top, on the roll hoop of our car, and it is raining again as we try and channel our inner Jenson Button and do well on the intermediates. Although I think it will be changing the weather in our favor, as it will be getting drier as we go on through this qualifying. And I think on Sunday, it's actually going to be a bone dry race. So it's going to be a bit different, nowhere to hide, and we'll really get a great first assessment of how quick maybe the Red Bulls look now, and also if Mercedes can do any learnings from the Spanish Grand Prix, because they were on pole, they were leading briefly, so it's just a case of Merc need to do some homework. You know, Sainz needs to buck up a little bit, and their newest signing, Lando Norris, he just needs to hope the team can understand the car better over a race distance, as the race pace wasn't truly there, was it? As we go through the motions on intermediates, we actually went for a second lap on the same set of tyres, same run, as we had enough fuel. But as I ended that second Inters run, although I was very happy with it, DRS was enabled, which basically indicated it was going to be dry eventually, and so none of that mattered really. And in hindsight, we could have just, you know, stayed in the garage, but it's always good to get a little bit of running, just to get kind of a feel of the circuit, even if it was wet. And we pop up a time on the soft tyre then to be in P3, but that's a bit ominous. The two Red Bulls, 1 and 2 in Q1 after their upgrades into this race weekend. But also, you can never really tell what the true pace is like until the top 10 shootout. What we do know is, I mentioned him earlier, needing to buck up. He hasn't done. Carlos Sainz continues to have a bit of a torrid time this season in the Silver Arrow. It's almost like Russell not being his teammate anymore has just demotivated him, and quite strangely, the Lando team up at the Silver Arrows has been to Sainz's detriment, and to the positivity so far for Lando Norris, who's kind of becoming the team leader within only like 5-6 races, as Sainz has consistently just been knocked out, surprisingly, in Q1s and Q2s, as we try to do very much the opposite and get through into the top 10 shootout along with Ollie Behrman, and both of us quite equally matched, which is quite promising. And, you know, kind of again plays into that fact of, like you guys have pointed out, this is turning into a very, you know, Norris v Piastri, very equally matched, very fair, very clean so far. The gloves haven't come off. There's been no funny business. It's kind of weird to be able to have any funny business because I'm driving as both drivers. I feel like that's the only, that's one of the big negatives of being able to drive as both drivers, not having yourself in the team, is I don't know how possibly you're ever going to get an inter-team proper rivalry, like actual gloves off, bit of squeezing, maybe it gets a bit tense. You know, it's kind of, you're going to get locked into having a friendly inter-team fight because you're driving maybe as both drivers. Obviously, they're trying to push you to maybe choose one in the right moment. At this stage, it's still quite early in the season. I think you'll agree it's fair to drive as either every other race. But there may come a point later in the season where we have to make a difficult decision to maybe favour driving as one driver if they've got a better shot at the championship, if other teams and drivers start to fight us. Is they are getting quicker, and this is a testament as we finish our last flyer. There was a lot of time gained there. It wasn't the best first flying lap. The second one was much better, but it's only good enough for third place. Behrman goes second, so Behrman's AI quicker than me around Canada, which is quite impressive, is one of my favourite circuits, but it's back-to-back pole positions for Lando Norris and Mercedes. So clearly there is some raw one lap pace in that Mercedes. We're already seeing it's, like I said, just about them getting the race pace under control. But Red Bull now looking better. P4, P5, obviously they were a little bit better in Q1 and Q2, but the Red Bulls out qualifying the two Ferraris, just showing that Red Bull just needed just a little bit, and both of their drivers are so good that they can get ahead of the still the number one team on paper, which is Ferrari. And Leclerc probably continuing to be quite depressed at his move to McLaren. P9, he's been out-qualified by Antonelli in the Haas, which is pretty crazy. Become race day, Lando may be on pole, the Merc may be on pole, but I think we have another good chance of taking the fight. And, you know, we need to savour it because these might be the last couple of races where we can say that with confidence.
Lights Out in Canada is approaching at a venue where the island was built for the 1967 World's Fair. The world has gathered once again. Welcome to the Canadian Grand Prix. So with the race not far away from starting, here's what today's grid rundown looks like. Lando Norris will lead us away from pole position, and Ollie Behrman completes the front row. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Tramnitz, Verstappen, Oscar Piastri, and Albon, Antonelli, Ocon, Leclerc, Pepe Marti, Gasly, Aaron, Yuki Tsunoda and Hulkenberg, Lawson, Doohan, Isaac Hadjar and Carlos Sainz, Bortoletto, Maloney, Stroll and Franco Colapinto rounds off the grid. And now it's time to head down to the track. Welcome to the commentary box overlooking the circuit. I'm Alex Jakes, and joining us for the race today is Naomi Schiff. Now, those final hours before a race, did you have a routine?
Well, every driver certainly has their own way of preparing themselves before a race. But I can tell you that pre-race rituals are a real thing. When I was in go-karting, I used to touch every wheel in a specific sequence before I got into the kart. And then I stepped up to cars and had a specific set of fireproof base layers just for race day. So watch the drivers when they're on the grid. Some may be sitting on the floor and isolating, others may be up to other things that they do. But these little things really help their minds get ready for the race.
It seems like this race is tilting towards a two-stop. Of course, we had a regulation change into this season, resetting tyre wear, and even though I'm sure most teams adapted their parts, there has been a weird, feeling that the tyre wear in, certain scenarios or certain races has been a bit higher. There have been some differences in strategy. We saw that in Spain. I think the AI are just being a bit more aggressive in their tyre choices and going for, extra stops and kind of negating the pit loss with just extra pace. And I think Canada might be the same here, as myself and Behrman on the mediums, Norris on mediums, and I think it's going to be a case of using all three compounds. I think it might be a medium, hard, soft for us at least. I don't know about the Red Bulls though. They've started hard, so maybe they're going a bit different in order to try and go for the race win. First race with the new upgrades, maybe they're going and throwing the entire kitchen sink at this with an alternate strategy to try and get back to winning ways in 2027 as we go to 5 red lights. And the Canadian Grand Prix is underway. A lot of wheel spin for Lando Norris off pole position. Behrman on the outside. We've dived it on the inside. A little bit of contact for a moment. It was 3 wide into turn 1. There's a warning from the FIA for collision there. That was my bad. I was quite desperate to try and make something work, but maybe we should have been a bit more controlled, a bit more measured, driving as Tramnitz leading the Drivers' Championship. So the Merc, after a very awful start, you must say, off pole, has actually fended off both of us AAR cars. So Behrman stays in second, we're third. Antonelli has overtaken Albon to be leading P6 and is already slowing everyone up behind him. So they're going to want to get past Antonelli very, very quickly, because although he's had a quick start, good quali, he is ultimately going to be slower in the Haas. You imagine is at the end of lap 1, we've got Albon very much looking to get past Antonelli straight away, not be bottlenecked. We saw plenty of fighting going on up and down the field. Renault versus Williams. You've got actually an Audi of Hulkenberg, pretty high, P14, scrapping Doohan. I wonder how long that's going to last. And then Sainz, after that Q1 knockout, he's clearly got a little bit of pace about him. He's going for a nice overtake on Doohan, but he just needs to sort out his qualifying. It has been absolutely woeful this season, and whilst his teammates P1 right now, and unlike in Spain, isn't being immediately pressurized. Lando extending his lead from 1.3 to 2.1 on lap 2, as Behrman is not looking absolutely on it as much as you'd maybe hope to pressurize the Merc, and instead we're the ones overtaking him, and now we're the ones in the driving seat with the clean air to try and chase after the Merc. After a little bit of defense needed, Behrman didn't take that overtake sitting down. He did try and go for the repass, but ultimately I think it's clear that in race conditions, maybe in quali, Behrman had me over 1 lap. Got a bit lucky in Q3. In the race, this is still one of my best and favourite tracks, so we've settled into a rhythm and we're looking quicker. As onto lap 5, just wrestling the front end a little bit as it gets a bit lazy, as that's the first time maybe I'm feeling the front end not doing exactly what I want it to do around here. Maybe owing to the tyre wear, I don't know. Lap 5 here on the mediums, but we are pulling away from Behrman and trying to chip away at Lando Norris's lead. But from lap 4 to 7, Verstappen, the gap's still 1.9, so we're equally matched, and we're not really gaining on the Merc, actually, annoyingly for us, so it might be a bit of a stalemate until the first round of pit stops. Is Antonelli still holding on to P7, behind Albon, having been overtaken early doors, but I say that, it looks like Leclerc is getting a little bit of move on. He's actually made a couple of overtakes already to get past Ocon, of course, and now trying to get his McLaren up into P7. DRS was open. It's a late lunge as well from so far back. He's going to set up the move, though, through the next sequence of corners as they go up this subtle hill, get the power down, and commitment round the outside to the inside as they drop down the crest into the heart of the second sector, and Leclerc is up into 7th place. So now can he get a move on towards the Ferrari? It's going to be absolutely not. It's going to be absolute pain for Charles Leclerc as his season in McLaren just goes from bad to worse. The reigning champion, for goodness sake here. He's having a torrid time. Honestly, someone needs to save him. Someone needs to save him from this situation. Maybe it needs to be us. Maybe it needs to be us. We've talked about, who are we going to scout for driver talks. Let me know in the comments below. Should we be going for the reigning champ here, into a future season? Because it's painful to watch, honestly. Him struggling maybe just as much as he was in Ferrari IRL. Meanwhile, lap 11 at the end of this first stint. Behrman getting overtaken now by Verstappen. And I think this is the crossover. The hard tyres are now the quicker race tyre. Verstappen's past Behrman on the hards. The mediums are officially now slower. And just on cue, it is actually our actual planned pit stop window. So we are going to come in. Lando stays out. So we're going to try and get an undercut going on the Mercedes. Behrman will continue on and try and extend just a little bit. I don't know if he's going to do the exact same strategy because I manually set a strategy of medium, hard, soft. I don't know what Behrman's doing. Maybe he's on a one-stop. I'm not too sure at this stage. Let's see. It's a good pit stop. 2.5 could have been a little bit quicker, but, it's pretty good. No mistake, at least. And now coming out in some decent clean air, just ahead of Ocon in P6, just showing the kind of, insane pace of the top, 5 there, to pit and come out ahead of a Ferrari, which is pretty crazy, as it's a slow Colapinto, in the Aston Martin Honda. Smoke coming out of his car. 2 engine failures today then in the first 13 laps, and Colapinto parking it up on the right. It's a bit of an awkward place to park it. It's quite open, and because of that, the FIA are calling out the safety car as that car needs to be towed away, and that is going to be so annoying. Not for the first time this season. That's the second time this has happened that I've pit and immediately there's a safety car that screws me over and negates any sort of undercut I was going for or strategy advantage. It happened in Bahrain. At that point, we pit again because we were, locked into a fight, a kind of sprint fight at the end of the race. We're quite early in the race, so there's nothing clever to do. I just have to, take my medicine, basically, and, first of all, trying to avoid a penalty as this delta time is very aggressive, I must say, on to the next lap, and there we go. Eventually, I was hoping and waiting for the catch safety car cue message, as I wanted to make sure we at least stayed ahead of Verstappen and Behrman, but no chance of undercutting Lando Norris, but there is at least a chance to try and get him straight away on the restart, at least, in hindsight. The safety car does bunch us all up, but that also means Verstappen is right behind me, which, by the way, he's gone onto hards again. So Red Bull, at least with Verstappen, guaranteed 2-stop because he's gone hard. Piastri's got medium, so maybe the Red Bull are splitting strategy. Maybe Piastri's going for the 1, as we nearly crashed into Lando Norris there as he stamped on the brake pedal, trying to fluster us a little bit on the restart, but we're having none of it as we're right on his gearbox. ERS usage, I don't know what the AI are doing this year. We're not using enough ERS off the restart as we we try and jockey the illegal position we gained, apparently, as we were just ahead before the finish line. But we've managed to just time that to perfection to get back ahead. But Lando does so well to keep it through side by side and really made us work for it to get up into first place. Well, we've done it. So we've actually made up for the safety car annoyance there. And we've made use of the fact that we were right there, you know, with Lando. But the thing is, I'm pretty confident we would have undercut him and we would have been ahead of him anyway if it had not been for the safety car. So this is kind of just a bit of justice for that unfortunate timing of it. But Lando is going to come at us with everything he's got, and to my surprise, squeezes us down the inside. Verstappen's now through. It's 3 wide. All of a sudden, on the exit of the hairpin, what on earth? Where's Verstappen come from and all of that? We were so focused on the inside with the Merc that now all of a sudden, it's the Red Bull that's attacking us, and Verstappen might just take the lead of this Grand Prix the long way round. He taps us. Verstappen with the incredibly aggressive move. He made a bit of contact with us, but he doesn't care. He clouts over the curb and he gets into first place. Verstappen maybe back to his best, maybe, with this upgraded Red Bull Ford. It's been a little while since we've seen the Dutchman fighting for the top positions. It's been a while since we've gone toe-to-toe as we fake from the right, go to the left and go round the outside, and you almost feel like this is personal for us driving as Tramnitz, because how many times have we watched Tramnitz's AI overtake and have a great squabble with Verstappen in the last couple of episodes, even at the end of season 2. So I felt like we had to really stick it to Verstappen in any of the moves we were doing for the sake of what we've seen Tramnitz do as an AI driver. But the annoying thing is we've got a second car involved. Lando Norris getting down the inside again as Behrman gets overtaken by Ocon. He already got screwed over in the pit stops, I think, and already lost the position to Albon. But all of a sudden, Behrman down to P7. What is going on with Behrman? Has he got a car issue? Is there maybe engine wear? I'm pretty sure we were all good on engine wear because there was no indication on the management screen that was a problem. So this, honestly, what you're seeing here, me getting into first place, fending off a bit of a gaggle, I think you can say it is, of Lando Norris, Verstappen, and maybe even Piastri as well in the background. Is Lando on the outside? Oh, a little bit wayward. And we just measure that correctly with a bit of a drift and a slide to stay in first place. What you're seeing here, maybe this really is it. Our car has no longer got enough pace for the AI teammate of ours, whoever it is, to fight for the win, fight for the podiums even. And the only reason I'm here with Tramnitz and P1 is because this is one of my favorite tracks. It's one of my quickest tracks out there on the F1 game. Maybe this is what we're seeing here, is Behrman now showing truly where the car could stack up in future races, which is concerning, and which is why exactly we had to try and go for those multiple wins, and why I will try and still grab this win as Verstappen's got the lead, but we fend off Norris to be the first car that has the right to attack the leader again. And I will try and continue this win streak if we can. 15 laps to go, one more pit stop for everyone. It's all to play for, and we're in this, you know, constant group of passing each other. So as long as we don't break apart and we don't lose the group, or, you know, get pushed down to, like, let's say P5 or 6 or wherever Ocon is, as long as we don't get pushed down and break DRS, I think we can stick with these guys. But honestly, being in DRS is the only thing keeping me in this fight. I think Verstappen and Lando are legitimately looking quicker than me, you know, without the DRS being a factor, for sure. I mean, the acceleration in this race for the AI has been absolutely nuts, and we're having to go very kamikaze and try and dive them back to get this pass done. It's a bit of a squirrel on the rear end, and Verstappen is able to maintain first place. We gave it a good go. It was a late lunge into turn 1. It was always going to be a bit audacious. And now as we go through onto lap 24, we're looking at the mini-map, seeing when people might be coming in. We know when we're coming in, lap 26, as we go for the DRS pass aggressively to the apex to cut across the Dutchman to retake first place for what seems like the 5 billionth time in this race. But it is so close. There is nothing to separate ourselves, Verstappen, Norris, 3 different cars, all got the pace for this win around Montreal's. Verstappen dives down the inside of the hairpin. You can see the rear tyres are starting to really struggle a little bit, you know, 30%, it may not seem like a lot. We've had higher tyre wear, but it does feel pretty bad at a circuit like this where traction is so important. And we tried to awkwardly repass Max whilst Lando there was coming into the pit lane. So that could have been a bit of a awkward crash, you know, if Lando hadn't slowed up enough and we had been a bit measured in our overtake, as that is now the signal of people coming in, but I'm sticking to the game plan. Lap 26, so we're going to be doing a bit of an overcut. I think we'll probably lose time, to be honest to people, so it won't be much of an overcut, but we're giving ourselves the delta time difference on the soft compound. And also, I don't think these guys are going softs. I think we're the only person who's thinking to go to softs by extending this hard tyre stint, because look at the top left. Verstappen's gone medium, makes sense because he went too hard, so he had to go to a different compound. But Red Bull, interestingly, not confident about their tyre wear yet in this point in the season with the upgrade to go onto a soft. So they go, for goodness sake, okay, pit stop issue. I mean, it's the first one of the season, isn't it? I think it's a 4-second pit stop, so that slowed us up a little bit, and that might just get us awkwardly in a fight with Albon as we come out ahead of the Ferrari, but the Ferrari is going to have warmer tyres, having pit a couple of laps ago, as Verstappen going around the outside of a Renault, out of position. Gasly maybe going to the end, I don't know, trying anything with Renault in P3 here. It is Lando that leads on the hard tyre, I might add, but right now we've got bigger problems. The Ferrari completely just walks past us with no effort at all because of how good the DRS works. And so even though on the soft tyres, we have to wait and watch Albon overtake Gasly. He set the fast lap of the Grand Prix, to be fair, Albon, so he's got some real pace at this point, but you feel like once I get clean air, I will be setting a purple as we make easy work of Gasly round the outside. And then on lap 28, we're going to repass Albon. We're basically pushing him through the hairpin. That's how much more grip we've got in the corners, but the straight line speed, the acceleration, just the DRS just worked out really well and annoyingly for Albon in a very awkward moment for us. But now we can push away and we can close up to Verstappen on lap 29, right up his gearbox, and we are going to set a fastest lap of the Grand Prix and probably will stay that way as we're the only man, it seems like, in the top even 10 on the soft tyre. Verstappen medium, Lando hard. So if we can get past Verstappen, there's a chance, you feel, because we're 2 steps softer than the leader. But the problem is we need to get past Verstappen ASAP to get into the clean air to actually chase after the Merc. And here we are then, DRS open. We used enough battery on the exit of the hairpin complex and we're up into second place. And we've just got to go like the clappers to try and bridge the gap. And it's taken us 4 whole laps. It's the second last lap. We're at the hairpin of the second last lap. So we're basically coming on to the last lap of this Grand Prix. And only now have we got into DRS of the race leader. So if we're going to win this race, this is going to happen at the very last minute as we go around the outside. We faked from the right to the left. We lead the Canadian Grand Prix for the first time in this last stint. But Lando and Max come at us either side of us. It was 3 wide momentarily. We're trying to get the elbow out on the Mercedes. Verstappen, I don't know if he's got anything left in the mediums to attack. It looks like he might pressurize Lando, and I need him to. I need the Red Bull to attack the Merc enough where I can maybe just have a bit of breathing room, because now, annoyingly, weirdly, I'm kind of in a position I don't want to be in. I don't want to be first going into that last straight, because I will be a sitting duck That's a guarantee as Lando gets round the outside. Oh, rear lock for us as we drift through the right-hander. And we get so close to making contact. You can fit a piece of paper between our two cars as into the hairpin. Big lock-up from Lando Norris. And we're able to get down the inside because of that. Is that the mistake that's going to cost Lando the win as we now have a drag race down to the final corners? Verstappen's in the tow. We pull out with DRS. We've got no battery though. Verstappen's on the inside, 3 wide, and the Mercedes will just get over. He'll get over the curb. He'll block us, and to the line will only narrowly finish P2 by literally a few hundredths of a second. We finished P2. I was down to like 1% battery at the end. Oh, it's not the win. We've not continued the win streak. And is that the beginning of the end?
What a way to head to victory. Lando Norris takes the win.
There was never a moment of doubt today. You could tell that they completely had it under control, and that is a sign of greatness.
It will be a moment to reflect, to gather their thoughts, and to enjoy all of their hard work on the podium. And Lando Norris holds the trophy aloft.
I think you can say pretty much that was me single-handedly dragging this car into that race win fight. Behrman way down the order. I don't know if he had any car issues. Maybe he did. At the same time, I kind of fear that that's showing that this is just the unique thing about Canada where I can make a big difference, I think, always. I'm confident in that. And maybe into next episode, we're also going to struggle, and both cars will struggle, and maybe that's when we'll be thanking our lucky stars that we got 5 wins in a row, because it now might be time to deploy the Brawn GP vibes and try and limit the damage all the way to the end of the season, if we can even do that. I don't know. I mean, we're going to have to wait and see if the AI teams around us actually bring further upgrades straight away, or maybe we have a little bit of a respite at staying at this sort of level, which will still be pretty damn exciting, because clearly Red Bull and Lando with Mercedes are up there now and ready to fight. Guys, if you have enjoyed the episode, be sure to hit the like button. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. And if you're around here, then do get subscribed for weekly Formula 1 content. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.